You want to know what separates the truly rich from the average? It's not luck. It's not privilege. It's not even talent. It's mindset. The difference between mediocrity and greatness lies in how you think, how you decide, and how you act when things aren't easy. The people who rise to the top, the real billionaires of thought and action, aren't chasing trends or shortcuts. They think differently, they behave differently, and most importantly, they discipline their minds when the world loses its head. The foundation of wealth is not intelligence, luck, or education. It's rational thinking. Most people let emotions drive their choices. They buy when others are buying, they panic when others panic, and they chase whatever feels good in the moment. But the ones who rise above that, the ones who quietly build real wealth, do something very few are capable of. They think clearly when it matters most. Rational thinking is the ability to stay calm in chaos. When the market crashes, the rational mind sees opportunity, not disaster. When the crowd gets greedy, the rational mind steps back and asks, what's the risk here? It's this emotional discipline, this refusal to be swayed by fear or euphoria, that separates those who survive from those who succeed. Emotions are natural, but reacting to them is optional. The rich know this deeply. They don't ignore emotion, they control it. They understand that every bad decision is born from a moment of emotional blindness. Whether it's investing, business, or life, they train themselves to pause before reacting, to analyze instead of assume, and to decide based on facts rather than feelings. Rational thinking is not cold or robotic, it's clarity. It's seeing things as they are, not as you wish they were. It's having the courage to accept uncomfortable truths. When you think rationally, you stop lying to yourself. You stop chasing illusions. You stop letting temporary emotions destroy permanent potential. The rich don't ask, how can I get rich quickly? They ask, what decision makes sense in the long run? They know that the smartest move is rarely the most exciting one. Sometimes it's the boring one, the one that requires patience, restraint, and humility. But that's exactly why it works. Most people can't sit still long enough for logic to win. Rationality isn't just a tool, it's armor. It protects your mind from manipulation, your money from stupidity, and your future from chaos. If you can master your thoughts when everyone else is losing theirs, you hold a superpower. That's where real wealth begins, not in numbers or possessions, but in a mind that refuses to be ruled by emotion. Patience is not passive. It is one of the most aggressive forms of intelligence. The world is full of people chasing instant rewards, fast money, quick recognition, overnight success. But those who build real wealth, the kind that endures across decades, understand a deeper truth. Success that comes quickly usually leaves just as fast. The rich are not driven by speed, they are driven by timing. They understand that compounding in money, in wisdom, in relationships requires time. You can't rush it. Compounding is quiet, invisible, and slow at first, but unstoppable in the long run. The average person grows impatient when progress isn't visible. The rich wait calmly because they know that invisible growth is still growth. Every smart decision, every small improvement, every day of discipline adds up silently, powerfully. Patience is also emotional control disguised as strategy. When others lose hope or panic, the patient thinker stays focused on the long game. They understand that outcomes worth having demand years of persistence, not days of excitement. The truly successful learn to delay gratification because they know short-term comfort often costs long-term opportunity. They choose progress over pleasure, growth over glory. The rich don't confuse motion with progress. Just because you're doing more doesn't mean you're achieving more. They wait for the right opportunity, not every opportunity. They understand that saying no is often more powerful than saying yes. When others are frantically trying to do everything, the patient mind waits for the one thing that truly matters, and when it appears, they act with precision. Patience also builds resilience. It teaches you to endure uncertainty, to trust your process even when results aren't visible. Every investor, entrepreneur, and thinker who built lasting wealth Add long periods of waiting, waiting for markets to recover, waiting for ideas to mature, waiting for the world to understand what they already saw, but they never stop preparing during the wait. That's the secret. Patience is not inactivity, it's strategic restraint. The discipline of patience is what turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. When you think long-term, time becomes your ally instead of your enemy. The impatient chase luck. The patient build destiny. True wealth belongs to those who can wait intelligently, deliberately, and without losing faith in their own process. The difference between the ordinary and the extraordinary mind is hunger, not for food, not for fame, but for knowledge. The truly rich are relentless learners. They treat every day as an opportunity to get smarter, wiser, and sharper. They understand that intelligence is not fixed, it's built, brick by brick, through continuous curiosity and disciplined learning. While others stop once school ends, they never stop studying the game of life. The rich read constantly, not to impress, but to understand. They don't read for entertainment, they read for insight. They dig into history, psychology, business, philosophy, and human behavior because they know that wisdom doesn't come from one field, it comes from connecting many. Every great decision they make is rooted in the knowledge gathered from countless hours of deliberate learning. They understand that the mind, just like capital, compounds every bit of information, every observation, every mistake they reflect on adds to their mental portfolio. Over time, that accumulated wisdom gives them an enormous edge. They see patterns others miss, they predict outcomes others can't, and they act with confidence while others guess. Learning gives them leverage, the kind that multiplies their thinking power far beyond their competition. But this obsession with learning is not comfortable. It requires humility. The rich are humble enough to admit how little they know. They constantly challenge their own ideas, question their assumptions, and seek out information that contradicts their beliefs. They don't protect their egos, they protect their understanding. That's why they keep evolving while others remain stuck. The wealthy mind also understands that learning is not just reading, it's observation. Every person, every conversation, every failure is a classroom. The rich listen more than they speak. They study people, markets, and systems with a sharp eye for lessons hidden in plain sight. They learn from mistakes, especially their own, and treat every setback as a tuition fee for wisdom. In a world where most people seek entertainment, the rich seek enlightenment. They know that a single good idea, deeply understood and well-timed, can change an entire life. Knowledge is the ultimate form of wealth because no one can steal it, tax it, or inflate it away. A mind that keeps learning is a fortune that never stops growing. The most valuable currency in the world is independent thought. The richest minds are not the ones who follow the crowd, they are the ones who have the courage to think alone. Most people crave acceptance, they fear being different. But those who achieve real success understand that greatness demands isolation. You cannot outperform the majority if you are driven by their approval. The rich are not afraid to stand apart because they trust their reasoning more than the noise of the masses. Independent thinking is not arrogance, it is clarity. It's the ability to question what everyone else blindly accepts. When the crowd says this is how it's always done, the independent thinker asks, but does it make sense? They are not rebels for the sake of rebellion, they are seekers of truth. They refuse to let the opinions of others dictate their direction. The courage to be different is not about showing off, it's about staying true to logic, even when it's unpopular. The crowd loves comfort because comfort feels safe, but safety rarely leads to progress. The rich understand that every major opportunity exists in discomfort, in the space where most people are too afraid to go. They know that the majority is often wrong, especially in moments of emotion. When the herd panics, they stay calm. When the herd is euphoric, they grow cautious. This mindset protects them from the extremes of fear and greed that destroy fortunes. To think differently, you must first give yourself permission to be misunderstood. The world criticizes what it cannot comprehend. The rich accept this as part of the price of success. They don't waste time explaining themselves to people who aren't thinking critically. Instead, they let results speak. They understand that conviction requires silence, focus, and endurance. Courage to be different also means making peace with failure. Independent decisions don't always work, but they teach. Each mistake strengthens judgment. Each lesson sharpens insight. The rich don't fear being wrong, they fear staying ignorant.
In a world driven by imitation, thinking independently is a revolutionary act. It takes courage to ignore trends, discipline to trust logic, and strength to stand alone.
But that is exactly where the greatest minds live, outside the crowd, guided not by noise, but by conviction and reason. Character is the invisible foundation upon which every lasting fortune is built. You can inherit money, borrow ideas, or copy strategies, but you cannot fake integrity. The rich who stay rich understand that reputation is capital, and once it's lost, no amount of money can buy it back. In a world full of shortcuts and deception, character becomes a rare asset that appreciates with time. True wealth is not measured by the size of your account, but by the strength of your word. When people trust you, opportunities find you. When your name carries credibility, doors open that money alone can never unlock. The rich guard their reputation like treasure because they know that in business and life, trust is the most valuable currency of all. Every decision, every promise, every deal adds to or subtracts from that balance. Character is consistency between what you say and what you do. It's easy to act ethical when everyone's watching. It's harder when no one is. The wealthy mind understands that private behavior shapes public destiny. They refuse to compromise principles for temporary gain. They think long-term, not just with investments, but with morality, because integrity compounds just like capital. Each act of honesty builds credibility, and each dishonest act destroys it. The rich also know that character attracts quality people. Like-minded individuals seek one another. When you operate with honesty and fairness, you draw in partners, mentors, and allies who think the same way. Together, they build networks based on mutual respect, not manipulation. And those relationships often become the greatest investment of all, unbreakable, loyal, and profitable in ways that money can't quantify. Character also requires courage. Doing the right thing often means choosing the harder path, rejecting easy money, walking away from shady deals, admitting mistakes publicly. But that courage builds inner strength. It teaches self-respect, and self-respect is the seed of long-term success. The rich understand that the goal is not to appear successful, but to deserve success. Without character, intelligence becomes cunning. With character, intelligence becomes wisdom. Every great fortune that endures is built on a foundation of trust, reliability, and discipline. In the end, wealth without virtue collapses under its own weight. But when your character is your greatest asset, no loss can destroy you, because your integrity will always rebuild what money cannot. So, what is the billionaire mindset? It's not about yachts, jets, or gold watches. It's about building a mind so disciplined, so rational, and so courageous that the world has no choice but to reward it. You want to think like the rich? Start by acting like a learner. Start by deciding like a rational investor. Start by living like your reputation is your greatest asset. Because true wealth, the kind that lasts, doesn't begin in your bank account. It begins in your mind.